Hello, hello, beloved soul seekers, light bringers, and all of my soul sisters and brothers, my soul family out there. This is Julie. I am so excited and honored to be here with you for this episode. I feel like when I do these solo episodes, it's like you and I just bringing our tea and coffee, hanging out, having a little chat together. And I just really want to say thank you so much. I just hit 3 years of doing this podcast and really grateful for you, for your time listening, for your sharing with others. I know many of you have rated and reviewed the show. It means a lot to me. This is definitely, I would say, a baby that has been nurtured from passion and heart, and I really feel strongly about offering just amazing content, beautiful souls, different views that are going to help you to really stay connected to your higher self, to your heart, to your intuition. It's actually what I want to talk about. It's funny, I was sitting with like, what is the topic for April? What do I want to share? What's important? What's relevant? And it's funny, I got off the phone with my oldest best friend. Meg is a sister to me. I've known her since we were 5. We grew up together in the Boston area. And, got her PhD in as a psychotherapist. I went into the coaching route. We still talk all the time and basically do what we did since we were about 7 and 8, which is to coach and connect and help one another to just understand ourselves better. And we were chatting and just talking about what is going on in the world and how, whether you're raising kids, like I've got my 3 children, you might have kids, or just, nieces, nephews, or little people you care about, or your own family, your own life that's just been really, really turned around. A lot is going on right now. And especially, I really believe, even though there's a lot of hopefully healing going on from the pandemic and boosted immunity, it's a big topic right now, whether or not to the whole topic around getting shots, about, how to be your best self and kind to yourself and to others. And I am not going to get into my perspective on that or the politics of that. I'm not interested in that part. But what I do want to talk about is how to stay in your heart in really challenging times. And I just want to say, my friends, for those who may not be as into astrology or kind of into the energy of what's happening, we have shifted and are shifting astrologically. You can see this in an astrological, like if you look at the chart of our planet, we have moved from a Piscean age, which was really more about um, intellect and kind of having these head figures that had power and very different energy. There's been a lot of great things about it, but also a lot of darkness. And we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which Aquarius is all about enlightenment, about being lighter, looking at things from a new perspective. The element with Aquarius, the element is air, and so being loftier in your ideals, dreaming more, bringing in that air quality, that quality of lightness, of lightening up. And one of the things that I think can be really challenging during this time is how to stay in your heart. And what does that even mean? So, I really think that we are just in the beginning, frankly, of a huge shift on our planet and certainly in our country. For those who are in the US, I know many that are tuning in all over the world, wherever you might be. First of all, I'm sending you love. I'm so honored that I'm here with you. I'm sending you heart. And just the knowing that we are all going to be okay. We're going to be well. And that together, as I said earlier in my episode, I believe, 2 months ago, we build our immunity through unity and coming together as community. So to me, the healing, the call to action is unity, learning how to be in that unified field and space. If you have not listened to the episode with Greg Braden, I highly recommend it. He wrote the book, The Divine Matrix. He is a scientist. He is an incredible speaker, best-selling author. He's actually coming back in May. I'm so excited. We are going to talk about the wisdom codes. he talked all about, in his book, The Divine Matrix, he shows the science behind this field of love, of infinite intelligence, of infinite love that we are all part of. You could call that God, goddess, source, the field, whatever you might call that. Dr. Danny Friedland, who's such a beautiful soul, he was earlier last month, and he is an incredibly brilliant physician focusing on um, neurology and habits and being your best self. And he is battling right now a really tough form of cancer actually in his brain. And he shared on this episode, on the episode, that what we need to do is get to our heart. What we need to do is drop back into our heart and to come into that place no matter what is going on. And Dr. Danny talked about that. Greg Braden talked about that, this field of love. I just interviewed today Ainsley McLeod. I'm just showing you if you're watching on YouTube. He wrote the instruction. He was on Oprah's Super Soul special as one of the her top 10 books, and he connects with his spirit guides all about, he's written 3 books. The instruction was one of my favorites, and it gets into different soul levels and soul ages. And really the bottom line is that those that are newer to the planet, newer souls, often are living more in fear. Those that have been here are often have done it enough times where we are coming more from a place of unity and love. It's not better or worse, it's not good or bad. And you will get that episode coming up. It's going to probably be airing later in May or June. But I recommend the book, and I recommend really tuning in. Um, you know, I think right now, one of the hardest things is, as you and I start to move out in the world again a little bit more, maybe it's, if you have children, it's them, going back to school or signing up for camp, or, deciding, am I going to go to the gym again? Like these decisions you probably didn't think about a lot. Now it's like, can I do that? And how do I take care of myself in this time of the pandemic, of fear? There's a lot of fear going on, understandably. How do I stay in my heart? How do I stay in my heart when I might have a differing opinion around medical questions and questions about how to stay safe and how to be also your Youest You? You're connected to your intuition. And I'll tell you, I was recently at a family event. It was a beautiful family event for my son. And there was a lot of differing opinions around just how to be right now in this time space. And no one is wrong, no one was right. And I just found myself kept coming back to, don't judge, right? When we judge others, we're judging ourselves, because we are all connected. We are connected in this oneness and unity, even if you don't remember that. Or, I think probably because you're listening, we're awake. We remember some of the times. I don't remember all the time, but we are the same unified, connected field. And so it was a great challenge for me not to judge when others see the ways to handle right now differently. And those questions, those range from everything of how to build your immunity, how to stay healthy, should you travel, should you not, what should you sign yourself up for, or your kids up for, how to do life right now, right? There's a lot of differing opinions. I am not somebody who watches the news a lot. I find that if I were to, it takes me, first of all, I find it to be very challenging as an empath. It feels overwhelming. I'm sensitive. I do end up getting my material usually through talking to others, reading the skim, but I will say that it is a little more challenging to stay in your heart and to watch the news. So I'm not telling you not to, but I have found this year, by not watching it regularly, if almost ever, has helped to stay in my heart. The episode I did with Dr. Bruce Lipton, he went into this in great detail about our biology of belief. The way that we are designed is for health and well-being. Our epigenetics, I thought it was 10% is based on genetics. He was saying it's 1%. So what is really important right now is to ask yourself, in any situation you're in, especially if you feel triggered. All right, so what I'm hearing right now from my own inner wisdom is trigger. That's an important word. It's showing up in like gold. So if you are noticing triggers, I'm going to invite you right now, and this will be in the show notes, start noticing what triggers you. And I'm going to invite you to look at those triggers from a place of curiosity, not condemning, not judging, because when you go into judging, when you go into condemning, you are then back in the land of fear, which is also where ego lives, where shame lives, where that circuitous cycle of feeling not good enough, of doubt. We want to stay in as much of our heart as possible. We want to stay in those qualities of compassion, acceptance, appreciation, love. So a question to ask yourself, because I've noticed there have been a lot more triggers recently. And at first I'm like, what the heck is going on? I typically do pretty well with triggers. Like I just would ground myself, energy bubble, do my intuitive writing, prayer, meditating, definitely time for silence. And I'm realizing, no, those triggers are important to look at. And so I'm going to invite you, just take a notebook for one day or your phone and just jot down, oh, I was totally triggered by this conversation around whatever it is, whatever that conversation is. I was triggered by my daughter whining. Sometimes she does. I was triggered by it. And notice, because they're probably going to be more pronounced right now, there is more fear in the collective. However, the wonderful news is that you and I staying more in our heart energy can shift that collective. It can shift the energy. It can definitely raise the energy, the vibration. This is not, it might feel woo woo, sound woo. I'm going to tell you, I would recommend reading Heart Intelligence. That is the book by Dr. Debbie Rosman, Doc Childre, and Dr. Roland McCready with Heart Math. I've interviewed Dr. Rosman and Dr. McCready, both of them incredible interviews. I would read The Divine Matrix. It's a phenomenal scientific explanation of the field, the divine matrix of love. I would read The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. These are some really fantastic books. If you're looking for more ways to just better understand how incredibly powerful you are and how important heart energy is. So look at your triggers, number one, just start noticing them, but don't judge them. Okay, that's where we get into trouble. It's where I get into trouble. Don't judge it. Just look at it with compassion and curiosity and courage. Use those 3 C's: courage, compassion, curiosity. Okay, look at those triggers. And then you might ask yourself, get a journal before you go to bed or sometime when you have quiet, write the trigger. This is what I've been doing. It's been really powerful. So the trigger is, maybe it might be like, I just know for me with my kids right now, I just don't really feel like I'm always doing such a fantastic job parenting. So the trigger is I feel like a shitty parent. And that comes up for me when, my son makes a comment that is not as nice about, not being as available. So the trigger is I'm annoyed with my son and I feel like a shitty parent. So whatever your trigger is, and then you ask yourself, what's under that? What am I feeling? What's really going on? Just keep writing until you get and you feel complete. You get to the bottom of it. And then here's the new improved question. What does my heart have to say about this? What would love have me do here? Find one of those questions that speak to you. How would my heart react here? What does my heart want me to know about this? What is for my highest good and for the person I'm triggered by? Right? So asking yourself one of those questions and then listen, tune in, and write what you get. It has been the last month or two I've been doing this. It just happened intuitively. I had a lot of triggers. I shared in my last episode. I'm also still I'm in a 12-step program and I'm still doing my 4th step yet again. This is 18 years later. I'm doing another. And it's all about resentments. And one of the things that I decided was no judgment allowed. And I had a lot more resentments than I thought. And stopping to just pause and look at those triggers, those resentments, those feelings of frustration, it's so powerful because you're going to see what's really going on under the iceberg, what's really going on there. Then you can start to see, what does my heart want me to see and know and feel? How can I apply love here? How can I learn and grow? It is so much easier, my dear friend. It is so much easier to go to fear, to go to ego, to go to doubt, to go to isolation. And you're not wrong if you're doing that. I have seen for myself, there are times I just didn't want to, I've had this like, I just don't want to post right now or do a live on Instagram or share what's going on. Like, I just need to really work this out myself. There are times when it's really important to listen and go within. However, what we want to make sure is we're not isolating with others, but to and from with ourselves. We don't want to isolate ourselves. There's an inner part of ourselves. You could call it your inner child, that part of you that is wanting to speak up. And I believe that birthing, that sharing, that communicating comes through that heart energy. So finding those triggers, writing those out. The way I do it's very simple. I just write trigger, dot, dot, write it out. What's going on? What's underneath? What am I feeling? What can I see here? What does my heart want me to know? Super simple, super powerful. So my invitation is, as we continue to move into this time of spring, of renewal, of rebirth, of regrowth, of shedding what doesn't serve, of releasing, like this is a powerful time, a powerful season and month. To me, I think of like those little seeds that were planted. We start to see those shoots. Um, we are also in, for those who love astrology, we're in the, mainly April is the sign of Aries, and Aries is a fire sign and is all about, to me, fire and up and out, and using that frustration and anger and triggers, use that as fuel for good. So let's not get stuck in those triggers, right? And especially, especially if you disagree with those around you, whether it's around health or the pandemic or how to be or what to do, just inviting you to go back to your heart, to stay in your heart, because what our world needs, what our communities, what our families, what ourselves need is more heart energy, not more fear and ego. And so staying in that heart place, hand to heart, whatever you need to do. And part of what I would encourage you to do is connect with others in this community. Let me know what you're getting here. How are you connecting with others? What's working? Please share in the Youest You Facebook community for soul seekers. We have a really beautiful, active community. Share what's working for you, staying in your heart. How are you doing that? How are you being with the fear and a lot of the fear in the world right now? I want to hear what's working for you. How are you moving through that with your heart? Share there, share here. If you're watching on YouTube, share below, like please share this with others. The point is that we are meant to commune and to build this unity together, because through unity we build our immunity and we shift our community. And that's really, I think, what is being asked of us. And so in this time of spring, in this time of renewal, really going in and seeing how can you renew your vows with your own heart? How can you renew with your own self? And I do believe it's not about bypassing those feelings, but really going into them, allowing yourself to go into them. What are those triggers? What's happening? How can you use heart energy? What might be showing up? And for those who are interested in doing this in community more regularly, this is a whole other conversation, and I will share more another day on how I even got to this downloaded this whole idea called sacredology, which is really about going from fear to faith or fear to love. I'm about to actually shift the parameters a little bit to be a community that anyone and everyone can join at any time. And so if this speaks to you, what we do there is learn how to live each moment as being sacred and go from fear and doubt to love. So if that speaks to you, you can see on my website, I have all kinds of information on the Sacredology community and the membership. Would love to have you. I just want to say I am so grateful, like truly from my heart to yours. I love you. I feel you. I am so thankful you are here with me doing this together. We all need to be in our hearts as much as possible, just without judgment. And I would love to hear your stories. What's happening? What's opening up? How are you moving through this time, staying connected to the qualities of your heart, to your heart wisdom, your heart intelligence, your inner knowing? What is showing up for you? Please stay in touch, connect with one another. I'm so grateful to be here. I always feel like I want to say I'm Julie, your cruise director on the Love Boat, but maybe that does actually fit today. So yes, thank you for joining this love boat, going into our heart and why it's so important. And from my heart to yours, just sending so much love. Namaste, my friend.